Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the live. I hope this video is coming through okay. It's showing a little slow on my end, so please leave any comments if you're having issues with the videos or audio. We're going to do a 1-hour Q&A today. We did publish a production up earlier today. Normally they go out on Tuesday. We were waiting to receive a report back from our boots on the ground in Spain to get that one out. All right, my internet's cutting in and out here. So apologies if you lose me here for a second. We'll keep trucking on. Connie, I'm going to allow Troy to answer that once he's in here. He's been working on your particular order. Justin, hey Rob, it's been 12 months since I ordered my baby maker. Can hear you. Hey Justin, we are coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the campaign in just 1 week from today. So March 17th will mark a year for many backers who ordered. Again, the first shipping estimates were September, so we are a bit behind schedule on some of them. A lot of them shipped out before that. A lot of them shipped out in mid-August, and the majority actually are shipping after the estimates. So for everybody waiting, apologies for the wait. We did have some unforeseen delays. Testing 1 2 3. Any improvement here? How's the internet now? All right, I'm going to go try and answer some questions, and I'll wait for you guys to give some feedback. Buffering every few minutes. Apologies for that. We've got the absolute best of the internet we can get here at this office. It's kind of a location where there's not a lot of service. We had to fight for almost a year just to get a high-speed line in here. I think it's 200 megabits, but it gives us issues from time to time. Now better. Okay, awesome. All right, I'm going to go back into the questions. Apologies for all the crappy buffering, and if it acts up again, let me know, please. All right. Trev Nod. Hi, Rob. Why did FLX decide it was a good idea to start this project during a major global pandemic? Also, you've sold bikes via campaigns before, so weren't lessons from that not taken into account? Trev Nod, great question. The pandemic was kind of looming as we got closer to the launch, so we had two options. One, we just give up and don't do anything, or two, we truck on and do our best, and that's what we did. So there was a lot of uncertainty when we launched, but we had thousands of people who were very excited about the bikes, and I'd say the team has done a tremendous job so far, all things considered, in delivering over half the bikes so far. 5,000, I think around 5,000 bikes so far already to over 20 countries around the world. And everybody who's got it has been so thrilled to get it, so excited, saying it's well worth the wait. So I have no regrets at all that we decided to go ahead. Could we have done a better job? Absolutely. There's a lot of lessons learned on this one. We took a lot of lessons from our first one and applied it to this one. If it weren't for those, this would have been a total catastrophe. So far, sure, we are a little bit behind our initial estimates, but I'd say it's very successful so far. All right, Troy is in the house to give us a global update. Let me get your microphone on. And you deserve a big round of applause, Troy. If I could give you 3, I'd do
Well, thank you. Hope that's universal, but some may disagree. We'll see. Okay. Well, I guess we will start with, I know you were talking about the UK. I know we were having some bandwidth issues, so I actually wasn't listening and I didn't hear what you actually covered, but I assume you talked about the fact that we still have customs issues going on in Spain. That's really unfortunate. We are set with, production, distribution, everything downstream is set. We just have to get all of our stuff out so that we can build bikes. The plan is there for the next 1,000 bikes. The build plan is there, going one load to UK and then two loads to the to mainland Europe, kind of same proportion as what the orders are. That's where we're at. It's really unfortunate. We are literally following it on a daily basis. I'm sure Rob probably talked about Franco, our new guy on the ground there. Very helpful to have somebody there who, kind of evens out some of the time zone differences and things like that, so we can kind of load him up at night and he can work this stuff while we try and get a little sleep in the morning, and have us updates when we come in. So
Totally. By the way, I haven't got into any of the Franco updates
Oh,
yet in
I am
this
so
live,
sorry.
but we did post a
Okay.
production update on Indiegogo. That's got a load of details, including a whole work report from Franco in terms of what he's done in Spain, where we're at, and we're hoping to see some progress tomorrow there.
Yeah, actually, that I did watch. So yeah, so we think that's going to be very helpful. Again, the big issue is getting Spain customs to release our stuff, and then we will get rolling on that. All right. Just as a global update, we have delivered bikes to 24 countries currently, and that number is going to continue to rise as we get into the low volume locations. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I know I've touched on this before. Just so everyone understands, North America, the orders are now going to be commingled. So people are asking, well, when's the next Canada orders coming? There are Canada orders coming out of every single container now. We focus C13 and C14 on Canada. Now, there's bikes from C15 and C16 and all the other that are also going to Canada, T1 through T3. So that's commingled. It's all in order of the order that they are placed and as they are fulfilled in batches. So we have some orders coming up from Mexico also. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to jump around here a little bit. I put together some notes. Someone asked last week about parts for Europe. So we are containerizing parts for Europe, and we are going to send those along with touring kits when they go to Europe. So there will be parts distribution in Europe. If you need parts, we will be able to fulfill. You'll still come to FLX for parts, but we will fulfill those locally. Those are not on the ground yet. Those aren't going through Spain either. But those are on their way. So we'll have those in place, and you will be able to get parts for your bikes locally in Europe, and local fulfillment won't be coming from the U.S. or from China. Little container update. I've been giving you guys container numbers. C13 and C14, C12 and T1 are all gone. I'll talk a little bit more about C14 here in just a second. C15 is the container that we're currently working. That includes a bunch, 300 plus touring kits going out, including a bunch going to Canada. Again, those are all commingled like we talked about. C14, Canada, we have a little bit of an issue. It didn't happen with C13, but for some reason, C14, we worked with FedEx to generate the invoices, and a bunch of invoices went to customs at a $1 value. I'm actually changing those right now. Those were generated from a spreadsheet, and I'm not sure what happened. We don't actually generate the commercial invoices. FedEx does that for us. C13, not a problem. C14, we had some problems. They're sending the PDFs, and I'm marking them up individually with price changes, so we'll get all those moving. I just put through 2 batches this morning, and that's kind of the task for today, is to get all those. So if you're seeing that your bike, if you're on container 14, you're seeing your bike is held at customs, that's what's going on. There was a technical issue with the valuation. I think what happened was they all show a dollar value. The field next to that actually says number of parcels, which everyone's getting one bike, and it grabbed that and showed that as the invoice value. So
Was that our error?
that was not our error. I actually went back immediately and looked at our label files that we give them. We give them a CSV file out of Excel, and they were correct. That was the first thing we checked. So again, they were the same as C13 in terms of format. We've been using this format with FedEx since the beginning, and I'm not sure what happened.
Somebody fat fingered it.
Yeah, something happened strange. Like I said, they had worked it all through going to Canada, because we don't have to do the commercial invoices in the U.S. So they're only when we cross borders like that. So again, no problem with C13. Those sailed through, and then C14 we hit a hiccup. So we're fixing it. Sorry for the delay. Your bike is on its way. It's just a customs hang up, but we're fixing the commercial invoices. I'm marking them up. They sent me the FedEx invoices. I'm marking up, putting the right pricing on them, and then sending them back to FedEx in Canada, and they're going to work those through.
On that, somebody asked, any idea how long it will take to resolve that issue, the $1?
I've already sent through, it's 84, I think. I've already done, let's see, the first batch was 15. I've done about 21. They're sending them through in batches of like 15. So I've done 21 of them. I've got another batch of 15 that are sitting on my computer waiting for me to get done with Rob here. And we'll move those along. It's a bit laborious, but they should have all their invoices, I'd say, by the end of the day today. If I get them all, I'll stay till they're done, and then they should move through. When they have the invoices, it moves through very, very quickly. So I would say a couple of days, and they should be on their way to local fulfillment. In Canada, depending on geography, how long that takes to get to you.
Sweet.
Container 16 just got delivered at FedEx Freight today, so they'll be unstuffing that container, and we will be giving them address labels, and that'll be another 200 bikes that'll be on the move here, probably starting the end of this week and into next week. C17 has been at port since 3/6. Usually takes 10 to 12 days in that range for them to get off the ship and out of customs and all the rest of that stuff. So that is the next batch of 150 odd touring kits and another 180 bicycles. So if you look at it, like I said, it's we run a lot of bikes out. We're running close to about 1,000 right now, just in the last few weeks. Sorry for the next group are 660 bikes, should be going to see 319. That's 3 containers, a bunch, all pros, about 5 different SKUs, but we will be fulfilling a lot. Some of you have been waiting for some of these bikes. There's going to be a lot of these going to see. Again, 660 on 319, another 484, basically 2 long containers and a short container, 484 bikes on that.
March 19th.
March 19th for the first one, 616. I'm sorry,
Sweet.
42 for the next 484. And we are also working with our other factory on container 18. That'll include more touring kits, more bicycles, including more standard bikes. Those are being put together along with the low volume locations. That's about 210 bikes for low volume locations. We're finishing up. They're still building those. We're finishing up the logistics, kind of from top to bottom, quantity-wise. So we've got Japan just about ready to go in terms of logistics and the fulfillment. Again, we're working with local carriers, and every single one of these countries, you have to find a freight forwarder and someone to do your customs clearance. It's a little bit laborious, but we're working through it, and they will be traveling, I would say, well, not I would say, will begin in April to fulfill to the low volume locations. Looking forward, just finished going through a build review, should have about 2,000 bikes going to the water in April coming to North America. So we are rapidly fulfilling the backlog of bikes we have on Indiegogo. Pretty pleased about that. Did want to touch on one technical issue. So we have had some issues going on. This This is a letter you're going to get, and it's a really important letter. This is your address verification letter, and I've kind of marked this one up a little bit. This one is actually for Santa Claus, but really important that when you get this letter, that you look it over, because it causes us problems if you don't check this. The first thing is we include your order number, and we include your address information and your bike configuration. So what happens is we show your bike configuration here, and there's a little legend down here to tell you what your bike is. You need to review that, quickly, because when you get that, we are getting ready to cut labels, and your bike is going to be shipping soon. Maybe we haven't been clear about this in the past, but once your bike shipped, we do adult signature on bikes, especially in the United States, and it's supposed to be everywhere. But especially in North America, when you do adult signature, once it ships, we can't really change the destination. We can, there's a very small window in which we can do that. So we've had people coming back saying, my address was wrong, and we have gone to these letters and said, this is the address it shipped to, we didn't hear from you. It's not an option to change the destination once these ship. So we need you to check this letter, make sure the configuration is correct. And again, you're getting the configuration you bought on Indiegogo. We'll check if we made a mistake. We do occasionally, but we need you to check that. We can't really change your configuration. We can change your address, but we have to know before it ships. Otherwise, it's really a problem. And we've had issues where people's bikes are going to old addresses because they've notified us of their address change after the bike is already shipped.
John Train asks, is that a letter or an email, Troy?
That is an email. And by the way, I wanted to touch on this a little bit. In addition to this, there's actually, Ben put this together. There's some video links on here, and there's also a ton of information. I know a lot of people think they know a lot about bikes. Really, while you're waiting for it, the few days that you're waiting for it, take the time and review this. There's a lot of good information. We've had some people damage their bikes because they haven't read the instructions and things. It's a good investment. You've waited long enough. The last thing you want to do is damage your bike or have a problem with it. It's the videos that have been put together by Ben and the rest of the team. Really good stuff. Really good stuff.
Men or women, Troy?
What's that?
Men or women, Troy?
Men or women?
Men typically don't read the manual. Isn't that a thing?
We don't
want your baby maker
ask,
to work there.
Yeah, we don't ask for directions. We will follow them if we're given. So.
Right. If you want to get the best out of your baby maker,
Yeah,
you got to read that manual.
That's right. You have to just swallow your pride and follow directions. I do it once in a while too.
Hell yeah! All right, I'm gonna run through some questions for you. Very first one, I believe we had one from Connie Reese.
Yep.
All right, have you got an update for her?
Yes, your bike is on container 16. We made a mistake. We'll own up to it. We over allocated the blades. We had a bunch of blades, but we only had, I think we allocated 7. I believe yours was silver, if I remember right, whatever that is. But I believe it was silver. We had 6 silver blades, and yours was the 7th. And we over allocated. We made a mistake. We're owning. It's on container 16, and that's the one that arrived at FedEx today. We are prioritizing that one. I felt really bad. I came on here last week and told you we had it, and we didn't. And we will fix that.
So when, any idea when that will go out?
Since there's only 7 standard bikes in there, those will be prioritized ahead of the baby makers. 212 baby makers, 7 standard bikes. Those will be the first ones we handle. So those labels will go out immediately, and then we will get we get a warehouse receipt. They do a count and verify all the counts, and then the baby makers will go out after that. That's okay. They've already got the C15 baby makers and touring kits that they're still fulfilling, so it really won't cause anybody.
Is that a matter of months, weeks, days?
Oh no, it's a matter of probably early next week.
Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Maybe even late this week.
Sweet. Thank you for the clarity on
Sorry,
that.
Connie,
Troy.
but
Connie, I'm gutted to hear
up.
about that. Somebody's gonna have to do some wall sits in the office for that one. All right.
I'm good for them.
Let's see. I think we've got some more. We handled the Canada issue. All right. Susan just got recent email. I received my confirmation February 5th, but still no bike or update from FedEx here in Kelowna, BC, Canada. Should I be worried?
Uh, Contact support. We'll take a look. It may be, so we did have, another thing I want to touch on. A lot of you got, we upload information Indiegogo. There was a problem. The Indiegogo tracking numbers, we're actually putting out an email. We don't normally do that because we don't normally have to, but the Indiegogo upload got messed up and it loaded up in scientific notation, so the numbers are bad. So we're going to send those out individually. You should have also gotten an update from FedEx because that's part of the service. They should have emailed you your tracking numbers. Contact support, they'll come to us, we'll check it out. If you got a notification, you should have a bike. There was an issue with your notification, but we weren't over allocated on anything going to Canada, so you should have a bike on the way. So contact support and we'll get you an individual answer very quickly.
Have we tried re-uploading those?
We have, actually it's stuck with Indiegogo. We opened up a ticket, they actually had to escalate it to their technical team. So that's been going on for several days. We actually became aware of it to Wednesday. On Monday morning, we opened a ticket, and then we got notification back. I had it this morning that they're escalating it to their technical team. We uploaded it, we tried to re-upload it, didn't fix it. We sent them the file, said we need this fixed.
Dang.
But one thing, when you do get notification, going to Indiegogo, understand that we cannot update your address in Indiegogo. I believe only you can do that, and I'm not even sure about that. So if you follow the link to Indiegogo and you look at the address in Indiegogo and say this is the wrong address, yeah, if you updated it, the Indiegogo address won't update, but we probably have your right address. Again, this is really the document of record. This comes out of our order master. This is where your bike is going to go. So find that letter and look at that. And if that letter and Indiegogo disagree, that letter is the correct one.
Yeah. So on that note, when we do get address change requests, my understanding is that we change it on our system,
Yes.
not on Indiegogo.
Right.
So if they go in and change it on Indiegogo without letting us know,
Right.
it's not going to go to the new address, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So if you need to change your address, you need to let us know. You can respond to that notification with your address. Don't do it on Indiegogo without telling us.
This letter actually has a hyperlink in here to our Zendesk, and you can go in and that's a self-service thing to do your address change. So again, when you get that, don't delay, do it immediately, because again, once the bike gets shipped, we're kind of stuck with the destination.
Fantastic. All right. HRMSJ contribution ID number blah blah blah. My concern is that what if it was shipped without notice and I'm a victim of mail theft? How can I confirm it has not shipped for peace of mind?
Contact support. We'll take a look at that.
Yeah, if you haven't received an email from us saying that it has shipped, then it has not shipped. You can also go into Indiegogo and look at your contribution details on Indiegogo. If it's shipped already, it will say shipped and it will have a tracking number on there. If you don't have that, it hasn't shipped yet, so just hang tight for that email. And based on your contribution ID, which is quite high for Indiegogo, I'm guessing it probably hasn't shipped yet.
Yeah. It may not have. It's possible. We are getting, for some SKUs, we are getting up into those higher numbers.
Yeah, it's possible, but if you didn't receive the email, it's highly unlikely.
Yes.
Edward says Hawaii wants their baby makers. Troy, how many have we shipped to Hawaii?
We just put another pallet out, LCL, last week. So I think we are at 9 of 24 currently going there, and we're waiting for Container 16 has some more Hawaii, and actually will fulfill an Alaska pallet also. So we're shipping those out. Those are going on a regular basis. So yeah.
That's about 40% of the Hawaii orders taken care of. John Train, San Diego wants their baby makers. We've shipped a load to San Diego.
Yeah, sure have.
They're coming. They will continue to come, John. All right.
Oh, watch.
That's a really old one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're way back. We're about 20 minutes behind on the question. All right. see if we got any more questions for Troy here. I'm sure there are. We handled the Canada issue, the $1 issue. Since you had lots of time waiting for Spain to move on and you've been crushing numbers, is there any chance for you to provide which number orders are going to be fulfilled by the 1,000 baby makers to be built?
Yeah, I mean, we could. I kind of do that in mass. It's not. I mean, go into my business. I go into Excel. I pivot these things out, and I kind of say, this is what we need. We try and allocate them fairly because again, they are going in batches. Spain builds in size and color batches, configuration batches, just like China does. And yeah, I mean, we could. I have not gone through that exact exercise all the way out. I can do probably the next 3 orders, something like that. It's possible. It's possible. It's time consuming. In some cases, you kind of do this on a just in time basis.
So that's really a question of, do we focus on pinning out these numbers to the T and focus on that, or focus on building and shipping the actual bikes? And so we've decided to do the latter of that, because the more we focus on the real task at hand, which is getting you the bike, the faster we're going to be able to do it. Yes. So that does mean a bit of a lag in the data for it to get to you, because it's once those actually leave the factory, once we send you an email. So, a couple weeks behind when we actually put them in build plans, et cetera, but it does mean getting the bike to you faster at the end of the day. All right, Tony's asking when his contribution in the 13,000s will get delivered in Canada. Tony, we don't have an exact answer for that. We can't provide an exact answer for any order number here, but we can say with high confidence that before July 31st, you should get it. That's the target we've put on here. Right. It's a conservative estimate for all the baby makers to be delivered, Tony. All right. What about low volume configurations, Troy? I feel like my configuration is the least popular. 19-inch Kiwi droppers. Will these least popular configurations be fulfilled later?
No.
Most seem to be black or silver.
Well, most are black or silver because that's the most bikes. I mean, that's probably, if you look at about 60% of the bicycles.
So are we building those first?
We are. Well, we built them first, and we're building them now, and we'll build them last too. I mean, it's literally thousands of the black and silver. But the fact of the matter is, no, they're not going to be built last. And the low volume locations, those ones we've grouped together. So I went through it. It's about 200 for low volume locations, about 210 bikes. That includes the 16 Australian bikes that were left over after 2 containers, 1 New Zealand. Those are now into the low volume locations. So those have all been grouped up and provided a build plan to our China plant to get those built. So they're all going to kind of be built together. Then they're going to be 20 here and 10 here and 5 here as we fulfill all these other low volume locations.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey guys, by the way, just so you know, Mark will be coming on in 5 minutes. So if you do have mechanic questions, you can get those ready now. Fire them off in the comments. And once he's in, we'll have plenty of questions for him. All right, let's burn through some of these, Troy. Hey, Troy, thanks for all you do. Quick question. I ordered my baby maker early February 2021. What container will my baby maker be in? And is my bike still going to arrive early summer, or has it changed? Thanks.
February 2021. Well, yeah, but we should. I mean, we've gone through our whole build plan, and like I said, July 31st is kind of the, I don't want to call it drop dead date, but that is kind of the fulfillment date on that. So I would say no later than that.
That includes bikes ordered even in February?
Yeah, I mean, for what we've got right now, we've gone through and looked at everything on Indiegogo, everything on Shopify, and yeah, we should be fine unless we had a huge surge. We do have some additional bikes left. I'm not going to say left over, but to accommodate demand that comes up in the interim.
Mark said, mine arrived today. I can't wait to assemble. Congratulations, Mark. Thank you,
Wa-
Troy, for getting him the bike.
Watch the assembly video.
Hey,
You don't want to have a problem putting the thing together because it's no fun if you're waiting for parts. So take the time, invest. It's a good investment. Watch the assembly video so when you're done, your bike is rideable, no problem.
all right. Emerald Citizen, will these letters be coming to us here in the United Kingdom? I think there's been some confusion because we call the emails letters, Troy.
My apologies. Yeah, it is an email. It's not a letter.
Yeah, and we can get them to the UK?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
We've already done that with the 259 bikes we've done in mainland Europe. We sent those emails.
Awesome.
It's the same email everywhere. Honestly, Australia, New Zealand, everywhere. It's pretty much the same letter. Uh, it refers to a carrier, not FedEx, not necessarily your local one. But again, it all comes out of the same order master. We handle all the data the same way. So the email will always read the same.
Great. Marcos asks, how about picking up in San Diego?
Well, the bikes don't.
No picking up in San Diego.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Well,
sorry.
no, honestly, the bikes aren't here. The bikes come off a container up in Los Angeles. They go straight to FedEx Freight, and then they go to FedEx Ground for fulfillment. So you're not going to save yourself any time. In fact, you're going to slow yourself down. We'd have to forward it here, and then you'd have to come in here and pick it up. So it doesn't buy you anything to do that.
Great. Yeah. Good answer. Connie says, okay, I'll wait. Thanks for letting me know. Gray Touring Blade
Yeah.
2.0.
I did remember it. I'm sorry. We over allocated. That was a mistake on our part. And again, we've got it in container C16.
Who's doing the wall sits on that one?
What's that?
Who's doing the wall sits for that one?
Actually, I'll split him with Ben because I don't want to throw him completely under the bus, but I'll join him on the bottom of the bus. So yeah,
right.
it's both of us.
Ben and Troy are going to do wall sits
do
for
wall sits.
for in your name, Connie.
You got it.
All right. Anytime, that's the rule in the office, by the way. Anytime we have a miscommunication or communicate something that's not entirely clear, you get a 1-minute wall sit. So big screw up on our part. Apologies, Connie. It will be there soon. John says USA update matrix that was in the Indiegogo update today was great. Would have been nice to get all along. I guess that's probably referring to the containers and the detailed write-up of that you gave to Kaylee for the production update.
Yeah, we're doing better. We're getting more detail. When I joined the company, it was kind of hand to mouth. Now we're getting to a point where we're getting farther and farther out there. When this next group of bikes, the T4 goes to the water, we'll be doing the allocation letters, which we were new here about a month ago, and so give you a little more comfort that your bike is on the way. We're better today than we were yesterday, and we'll be better tomorrow than we are today. That is always the goal.
Hell yeah. Andy wants to know, any bicycle in Australia that is unclaimed or have not paid their GST? I'd love to buy another baby maker without having to wait again.
Contact support. We've put some pressure. There's actually 2 bikes that people have not paid their GST. We had 2 people who did finally. We had 4 bikes that were sitting down there and no one had paid their GST. There's 2 left. And they've got until the end of the day on Friday, and then those bikes are going to be reallocated. So if you want to, contact support Monday morning, and we'll let you know.
Connie says, Troy, when you woke up and found out you were human and humans make mistakes, did you freak out? I did the first time. LOL.
No, I didn't freak out when I found out I was human. I'm just trying to keep everyone else from finding out the same thing. I make mistakes. We're moving thousands of bikes, and every once in a while we screw up. We're not perfect, but we're working at getting better all the time. It's always the goal.
Great. I think we're almost caught up on these questions.
All right.
I want to find you one more, Troy. Edward Connor, aloha, gentlemen, baby makers to Hawaii. What's the latest? December was my estimated arrival. What's up?
Get a hold of support. We're moving bikes to Hawaii all the time. There's Hawaii bikes on C16. I don't remember if there is on C17, but there are on T2 and T3. So again, we consolidate those, so, and they move about three bikes at a time on a pallet. Again, we just put out, I think we're at 9 of 24, so there's another 15 to go with our current backlog. Contact support, we'll find out where you're at in the queue, but they're coming. They're all coming.
Great. And allocation emails, have they been sent for bikes in container C18?
No.
No, not yet.
No, the next ones that'll go out will be the ones for T4.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, Troy. That's
that it?
about everything. Yeah, that's everything. We're caught up.
Skipped over one.
Which one's that?
What's that? The R word. Yeah. Troy needs a raise. Didn't you see that one?
Where's that?
I don't know, I think
Did you get a compliment? Did I skip over a
Yeah,
compliment
I
for
think
you?
so.
Where is it?
Yeah, it says something about that. It's okay. It's probably my mom. It's my mom.
All right, Troy. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks again for all your hard work.
Take
We
care.
appreciate you. Big round of applause. All right, we did pass over a few questions here that were not logistics related. So in between now and when Mark comes in, which could be any second now, I'll try and burn through those. But by the end of the live, we'll be completely caught up. All right, let's see. Marco, are the plants in mainland China or Taiwan? Our two assembly facilities, they are in the mainland China. One of those is actually completely Taiwanese operated, so it's got basically all of the Taiwanese standards. It's really, really cool. Come on in. Come on in. Amazing, amazing factory. We worked with them for a long time, and we're hyped about their work. All right, Mark is in here to answer any questions related to your baby maker. Wow, drop the mic here. Your baby makers, how to upgrade them, any challenges that you've had with them, and how are you doing today, brother?
Pretty good. Ticket counts are pretty busy, and I'm getting a lot of service into, so a lot of repairs and tearing down of bike frames and sending parts out and whatnot.
Have you noticed a big kind of increase in the ticket volume with all these deliveries?
Yes, so a lot of people are getting their bikes. A lot of really basic questions like what they can and can't do with their bike, and a lot of assembly questions as well.
Awesome. What's a common? You brought up a couple things. Tell me about the pedals.
So we're getting a lot of issues, not a lot of issues, sorry, but it's kind of common when it comes to bicycles in general. But we have people are tuning up the threads on their pedals, and there's not many things that could cause that. So one, either you're threading the wrong pedal into the wrong crank, you're cross-threading it, or you're not tightening all the way. There's a common misconception where I'm not going to get into detail, but essentially with the bearing setup in the pedals, that the pedals keep themselves tightened, which is true in a sense. But if you think about all the variables when it comes to riding, like for example, vibration, it can knock those pedals loose if it wasn't tight enough. And over time, the pedal itself will develop play, and then it'll start chewing through the crank threads. So depending on how you ride as well, it could happen within 5 miles. It can happen within 100. It all depends. For example, I mountain bike a lot. And at one point, I was getting ready for a race a couple of years ago. And I still had flats on my bike, so I was going to put clipless pedals on. But I was in a huge rush. I was coming up next. And I finger tightened it. As I was going downhill, the pedal actually started loosening. And I could feel the play as I was going downhill. And after that, my Shimano XT cranks were completely toast. So when you tighten your pedals in, make sure they're tight. There's a reason why a pedal wrench exists, or sometimes with pedals there's usually a hex socket or whatever where you can use a hex wrench too.
Totally. So read the manual, watch the video when you assemble it. Left and right pedals are different. Got to be on that. And for Bruce, you said you missed my question. Bruce, I haven't got to your question yet. Actually, I'm just going through and cherry picking the questions that are relevant to each of the guests on here. By the end of the live, though, we will get to every single question. So thanks for your patience, Bruce. We will get to it. Mark, what's going on with the new Baby Maker sample? So we got that from our second facility, right? The pink bike out there?
Oh, yeah. So the packaging is phenomenal. So I've been in industry for quite a while. There's a lot of suggestions that I've been offering up on how the bike should be packaged. And I'm very pleased on how they are. The bike is very well packaged, very protected in the box as well, and very neat too. So I'm very pleased about it.
So some background on that. We do have 3 production facilities, 1 in Spain, 2 in China. The second one is recently online. So we got from the first batch of bikes, we got a couple sent down here. Mark personally inspected those just to make sure everything was perfect and didn't find any issues, correct?
Yeah, no, nothing. It was flawless. It was great.
Awesome. So both factories are up to par in terms of quality, and we're super hyped about that. All right, question, Keith, can you use thread locker for the pedals?
You can, but I don't recommend it because it'll just make the pedal or just removing the pedal really difficult. I mean, if you plan on using the same pedals for the rest of the lifetime of the bicycle, then yeah, sure, go for it. But if you plan on changing out pedals from time to time, maybe if you're the type of person that uses the bike and you like flats and clipless, you like interchanging both for whatever reason, I do not recommend using thread locker.
Would you say it's sufficient to tighten it with that tool with the wrench?
Pedal wrench, yeah, definitely. And any type of wrench, shoulder type for the most part is fine. One thing I forgot to touch up on is when you're installing pedals, I highly recommend using grease as well. It's kind of standard practice when it comes to the bicycle industry. So just to make things a little easier, definitely use grease.
Why is that? Why is it better?
It's because it's weird how pedals are designed, but it's really easy to cross thread them because the surface of the bolt hole of the crank is you can easily perceive it as kind of in not level, I guess, compared to the actual bolt hole itself. So it confuses a lot of people and they start threading it in incorrectly. So it's always good to start instead of using any tool, start using your hand first until the thread catches. And then if there's any significant amount of force when you're tightening it with your hands, then that's when you know that you're cross-threading it and you have to back it off right away. You'd be surprised how easy it is to strip threads on a crank, unfortunately. I've done it a few times when I first started cycling a couple of years back. So it's definitely something that I think every mechanic has done at least once.
John said grease on the threads or the bearings of the pedals.
The threads, the bearings are sealed and they're already pre-greased for you.
Awesome. Great. Mark, do you mind telling us a little bit about some of the more interesting mods you've seen on baby makers online or in the shop?
So far, one of the really cool bikes I've seen is I think there was a Sterling that had really nice Tamwell tires on it, a leather seat, stuff like that. That really I think is really cool. I've seen people put suspension forks on their bikes as well. I thought that was pretty interesting too. I mean, it's a road bike, so it's kind of odd putting a suspension fork on it, but depends on the type of person you are, especially if it's functional too, and I think it definitely makes the bike a lot more comfortable. But I think that's probably the wildest thing I've seen is people just putting like a 100 millimeter fork or a full-on mountain bike fork on their baby maker. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a good looking bike, the orange one.
Mhm.
Keith says he's obsessive. He tightens everything to spec after a ride. It's therapeutic. What do you do when you're putting a bike back together? Are you doing everything to spec? Are you going by feel?
With all the experience I have, I typically go by feel. It's really when I'm working with carbon is when you really have to torque everything down by spec. For example, if you were to tighten a brake lever onto a carbon bar more than, let's say, 13 or 14 newton meters, you risk cracking that carbon, and it's a lot easier than you think. I have a lot of riders that have cracked their frames by tightening the seat collar too far, and it doesn't take that much more strength to crack carbon, so you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but I'm the same as you. Everything by hand. If you put a few things together or quite a few things together, you should be able to understand how tight you need it without causing damage to the bolt and threads. Christopher says, what width tubeless conversion rim tape should be used on these rims for the Babymaker Pro?
So the internal rim width of the rim is 16, but because it's kind of concave, I always recommend using something just 1 or 2 millimeters wider to fill in that gap. Do keep in mind the rims on the Babymaker are not tubeless compatible. So based on my experience, if you're trying to convert a non-tubeless rim to tubeless, you have a 50% chance that it'll work just because the rim isn't built for something like that. So it really depends. In a general sense, converting road bikes to tubeless because of the high pressure of the tire, it's typically a lot harder to do that, even if the rim is tubeless compatible compared to, let's say, mountain bikes. So typically, road bike tires are on average 80 to 100 psi. Mountain bike tires are on average as low as 10 to 50. So road bikes in general are just typically more difficult. But if you are going to try and do it, just do keep in mind, like I said, 50-50 chance. And if it doesn't work, be prepared for a big mess.
That's a good insight. I never even thought about that, just because the difference in PSI, less likely to be successful. But for the name of science, let us know how it goes if you want to. All right. Keith said he's got a Trek 9.9 Powerfly, a carbon frame. Connie asked, will the blade or bikes come with the torque specs listed in the manual? I take apart my Harley all the time and use touch, but not sure of the blade specs.
So when it comes to aluminum bikes in general, I really just base it on feel. Unfortunately, I don't know the torque specs from the top of my head. What you really have to be careful is your headset. So on average, when you're tightening down the bolts to your handlebars or the stem to the steer tube of the fork, it's anywhere between 5 to 10 newton meters. Like for example, the top cap for the headset that sandwiches everything together, that is roughly 9 newton meters. You don't want to go shoulder tight. You don't want to go anything tighter than 9 newton meters, mainly because you have the potential of removing the star nut from the fork, and that could potentially damage the inside of the steer tube of the fork, and you would have to hammer in another star nut. So it's stuff like that. But if you're talking about the axles, like for example, the Blade 2.0 is a bolt-on axle for the rear. Shoulder tight that thing as hard as you can. You'd be totally fine. But yeah, a lot of the time, like I said earlier, it really just based on feel. But shoulder tight, I would imagine 30 to 35 newton meters.
Can you explain what shoulder tight means for everybody here? I know what it means, of course, but these guys right.
So basically, as hard as you can. Not like don't try to brute force it, or or Superman or Hulk it or anything like that. But just enough where you feel like, okay, that's pretty good. But the term shoulder tight is really, a lot of it really is preference based on the experience of the mechanic. But if you really want to know what shoulder tight is, and you have a torque wrench, 30 to 35 newton meters.
Awesome. Hey, that's a good idea though, Connie, to get a torque spec listed for every bolt in a manual, or maybe a service manual, or at least an online publication. Thanks for the idea. We'll definitely put it on our growing list of the things that we should do to improve your experience. Glenn says, can report I've read a couple of Tanis conversion success stories here down under. That's awesome. Did you get a chance to ride the Tanis tires we got? It's an airless tire.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I haven't actually.
Okay. I think we have one baby maker. It's probably a silver one with a front Tanis tire. It was a pain in the ass to install.
Sounds like it.
Keith asked, what is your personal e-bike ride? Is it decked out to the gills?
Actually, I don't have an e-bike. I'm in the market for one, but I'm kind of saving that until or for future choices. But right now, I actually ride a full suspension transition patrol. It is a full-on enduro bike. It's a 170 up front, a 160 in the rear, and it's fully custom as well. But yeah, in terms of e-bikes, I think I'll be waiting for the Weapon when that comes out.
Yeah, buddy. Hell yeah. Super excited to get you out on the Weapon. All right, last question. Connie says, I thought I'd start with 7 or 8 newton meters for the stem and stuff like that, but I use 35 newton meters for the rear or shoulder tight. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Beautiful. All right, Mark, that's all the questions we got for you. Thanks so much for coming on, for all your hard work and taking care of our riders. Somebody said, by the way, he had an issue with his Blade 2.0 with the rear axle, I think, and you sorted him out. So thanks for taking care of him.
For sure. Yeah, thank you again.
All right, brother. Big round of applause. All right, Bruce Hoffman, I haven't forgotten about you. I skipped your question earlier because we had some guests in here and we were just cherry picking the most relevant questions for them. I'm going to pick off where I left off in the questions, and we will go through all of these before ending the live. All right, so let's see where we were. All right, Prob, we answered the $1 Canada issue already. Marco got yours. Chris Link, please really watch carefully for QC for all baby maker bikes in low volume location countries. Rob, should be easier for QC there since those are for low volume. Should not be any problems, right? Chris, absolutely. So that they're built in the same facility as all of our bikes, and our QC standards have been improving even as we go along here from the start. Because anytime we see an issue, we take that, we report it to our factories, we figure out how did this happen and how can we eliminate this issue from ever happening again. So QC standards are only increasing, and we're seeing less and less issues moving forward. So don't envision any problem now. It's very rare to see an issue with the bike. All right, Emerald Citizen. I answered this earlier when the internet connection was spotty, so you may not have seen it. Hi, Rob and Co. I realize the problems you have been experiencing, and I really appreciate that you are now being more forthcoming with information and updates. I was especially glad to read that you were saying that all things going well, all bikes will be delivered by end of July. I can't wait to get hold of my bike here in Aberdeen, Scotland. Emerald Citizen, hey, thank you so much for the feedback. We're stoked to get it to you there in Scotland. Your bike will be delivered from our Spain facility. It will be built there. We have been having some challenges there, but the estimates we gave they are a bit conservative, so there is a bit of room to accommodate for some of those challenges we've been having with customs. We do have a man on the ground now in Spain. He did his first day at the factory. He is an FLX employee, so he reports only to us, and he's going to make sure that we get that job done, that we do anything we can to work with customs to get those parts out on a faster time frame than has been happening. Tarek, hi, Rob, and Troy. Hey, good to see you, Tarek. Have you? Tony says, have you thought about a complimentary touring kit or bike as compensation? Tony, if I was Jeff Bezos, you bet that'd be a walk in the park for me. But unfortunately, we can't do that. Maybe we'll get Oprah on the line. You get a bike, and you get a bike. All right, Urbal, we got your question. Tarek, I understand that a key milestone would be achieved tomorrow in Spain with local customs. Could we expect a status update tomorrow evening to know if things went well? Tarek, the update frequency is every week, and they take a lot out of not only me but the entire team. So Kaylee writes half of the update. She gets all the images together. She gets the global shipping update information. She gets that from Troy, who prepares it all for her. I work on the video and the challenge section. That's edited by another guy. We have another guy filming. So even weekly updates, they do take a lot of attention from us to get to you. You absolutely deserve it. But for now, it's just weekly. If we do have anything incredible out of the blue, I might post something on our Facebook group, so you can take a look there. The official Facebook group, we do post links to that on the updates. But the latest you can expect information is next week. All right. Let's see. Where was that? Tarek. Chris, just an idea, make video for shipment form, etc. I'm not sure what you mean with that. I guess maybe when we send the email about the shipment, that is a great idea. We do send videos in them, links to videos for assembly, etc. I would love to have like a face come up on the email saying, hey, your bike's delivered, maybe down the line. All right, Julio Prior. Hi guys, I ordered my bike in July last year. Was told that should receive in December. I understand the delays. I'm in Florida. How much longer you think, or when should I be getting my bike? Julio, so we've got thousands of bikes being delivered between now and once we get all caught up, we've set a drop dead date basically of July 31st. So we can say with high confidence it will be before July 31st. Exactly when between now and then, we cannot tell you because there's a lot of variables, but sometime between now and July 31st. Bruce Hoffman, all right, caught up to your question that we skipped earlier. Sorry to ask, but my bike was originally scheduled for delivery in December, and now I hear I will not receive the baby maker until May, June. What was the problem? Bruce, lots of challenges, mostly due to the explosion in the supply chain for the entire bicycle industry. There's hundreds of articles that have been written about this phenomenon. Completely something that's never been seen before. But basically, when COVID happened, there was a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people thought bike businesses would be going out of business, et cetera. Nobody knew what was going to happen. What actually happened is all of the gyms shut down and everybody was locked down. So everybody wanted to get out of their house, and biking became the solution for that. So bike sales exploded worldwide. It caused all of the bike stores to go out of stock, all of the department stores to sell out of bikes, and the entire bicycle supply chain, all of the major giant bike companies to see this and place massive orders for every component to kind of pad their supply chains. And that caused people like us and really most bike companies, when we place orders with suppliers, they're now back ordered. Instead of 2 or 3 months to deliver a component, we're talking a year and a half, 2 years sometimes when we place orders now. It's just insane what it's done to the supply chain. Luckily, we did place our orders during the campaign. We fronted all that money before we even got it from Indiegogo, but a lot of it's just been waiting for components. The other one is in Europe, waiting on customs. So a few unanticipated things that if we had known about it, we certainly would have done differently, but can't predict the future. And we're living and learning and delivering all the bikes based on what we know now. Chris, if the courier just leaves the package outside my house, for sure it will be gone in Indonesia. Rob, please note that. Noted, Chris. Thank you for that. Most of the international ones, like there's a um, there's a bigger chain of custody on it because it needs to be imported and everything. So it's very unlikely that they would just deliver it without a signature in Indonesia. Edward, we did answer about Hawaii. JD, does Troy get a raise? He must put in wild hours. He does put in wild hours, JD. He's doing a tremendous job. Thanks for the recommendation. Chris, I ordered blue and tangerine. Got you. Mark, I'm at 7 months now or more coming to the USA. Yeah, Mark, absolutely. We've got 600 leaving next Friday, 660, I believe, another 400 leaving about 3 weeks from now. So there will certainly be more coming. We'll be sending out emails about those once they are allocated. Chris, I received my baby maker last weekend. Super impressed with ease of assembly and the smoothness of the ride. Thanks everyone at FLX. So FedEx did not obtain my signature. Chris, thank you for the feedback on FedEx. I'm hyped that you got the bike. Really excited that you love it too, and I hope it was well worth the wait for you. John Train says free assembly. Hey, if we could do it for you, we would. Keith, request do a full FLX 2.0 blade video. Not many videos on this bike, save for one promo vid and an uphill vid. Keith, hey, thanks for the idea. It's been tough with the Blade 2.0 because we literally cannot keep the bike in stock. As soon as we get them in, they're already sold out. They're sold out before we can even get bikes in. So um, most of it's just been waiting on the Blade 2.0 to come in, and then we'll focus on other things like the Baby Maker. But you're absolutely right. It's a beast, and we have not done this bike justice in terms of the media we've put out on it. I believe Ben and Dylan just made a video about it a day or two ago, so we should have something up for that soon. AIY, hey Rob and Tony, Troy, my bike is stuck in Canadian Customs along with 84 other bikes. They state it's because FLX declared a $1 sale value. Hey, we did answer that earlier, and Troy touched on it as well. Basically, what happened is the carrier, when they import the data for those invoices, it sounds like they got the column next to the actual declared value, which is the quantity, which was all one, instead of the price, which is the actual price of the bike. So apologies for that issue. We have resubmitted the data, and it should be handled in the next few days here. AIY, we crowdfunded it, but how can we get our bike cleared? Just hang tight. Same person on the Canada issues. Hang tight. We're on top of it. I don't think need to do anything on that. Just wait for us and FedEx to sort that out. Antonio, any bike shipping to Maryland? I'm waiting on a Tangerine Pro with bullhorns. Yes, we've shipped many bikes to Maryland. We'll continue to do so. If you haven't got it yet, please hang tight. We will have all the bikes shipped by July 31st. DS is a signature required for delivery in the States. Yes, we do require it. It's an exception, but sometimes we do see the bikes delivered without a signature where the delivery driver will sign it himself or something like that. It is not. Um, that's against FedEx policy, but it does happen. Humans make mistakes sometimes, so it is required. But there have been exceptions to that. So if you can track your bike to your door, that would be the best way. Make sure you're there when it does arrive, just to eliminate the chance of that happening. Is FedEx just leaving the box on the porch? Yeah, just answered that. It's happened. It's not the standard. It's not supposed to happen. Trev Nod, I'm in the UK, so I'm wondering if you guys have spoke to customs in Spain and asked what could be done by them to make things easier, better, efficient, etc. You may have done so, but thought I would ask. Yes, Trev Nod. So it has been challenging in Spain dealing with customs. Our partners there, just because we're not actually there. So doing things by email and Zoom has been challenging. We did just hire an official FLX representative who spent his first day at the factory in Spain today, working with our factory contacts. He's working with the importer and our customs agent as well. I believe they have a phone call tomorrow to address, exactly what's going on, what's needed to clear those containers, and how can we speed it up. So that's literally the only priority right now in Spain, utmost priority, because we've been really been dragged along by customs here, and you guys are getting the short end of the stick, and that's not okay. So apologies for the delays there in Europe and the UK. We're on top of it, and we should see movement here very, very soon. Bruce, got your question. All right, we're almost all the way caught up. Bondi Peter, hi from Bondi. Really enjoying the baby maker. Lots of admirers. Hey, that's awesome. What are they saying when they see your baby maker? Bondi Peter, stoked that you got the bike and that you've got so many admirers wanting to have your babies. Let's see. Okay, we got most of these questions with Mark. Keith, why the name Baby Maker? That was a very common question while we were running the campaign. We like it. We love the name Baby Maker. It's fun. It makes us smile. And it's a bit of a warning because when people see you riding that bike, they're going to want to have your baby. True story. Chris Link, there are 260 million people in Indonesia, Rob, so please take note on that. Good market for Baby Maker bikes. That's a lot of people. I had no idea there's that many people in Indonesia. Chris, thank you for the tip. Bruce, I appreciate you not forgetting my thrilling question. Never. Connie, what was DB's axle issue with the blade? Anything I should check immediately when it arrives? I'm not sure on that. I don't know, Connie. A couple things we have seen with the through axles. It's not a super common issue, but it can happen. Is they're threaded, so both ends of the through axle, you've got the lever, which is threaded into an internal, basically a long screw or skewer even that's threaded on both sides. And you've got the other locking side on the other side of that. We've seen where those haven't been tightened enough so that when you're unscrewing the lever, that whole part can come off rather than it loosening and then get stuck in there. That's something we've seen. It's not great when it happens. The solution is a new through axle, so it's not super expensive, but it is very annoying. So that's something that we're adding to our QC checklist moving forward. Every single through axle that comes into the factory, inspect it, make sure nothing's going to come off on that. Chris Link, thanks for your responses, Rob, and I will always back you up for all of those negative comments on the Facebook Baby Maker Owners Club. Hey, thank you so much, Chris, and thanks for being a positive ball of energy in the Owners Club. Really appreciate it, and we get it. We gave estimates, and we haven't fulfilled on those for a large number of people. So if people are anxious or annoyed with us, we totally get it. That's on us. If we had known then what we know now about the supply chain and what would happen with all those components, we certainly would have done things a little bit differently, but we're getting through it. We've delivered over half the bikes. The light is at the end of the tunnel now. There's thousands going out now, and by July 31st, we'll have all those bikes delivered. David Flynn, I see one of your customers in Germany is trying out the Doppio gearbox to have 2 gears rather than the one fixed ones. Has anyone from FLX looked at this? Uh, Not that I know of. I'm going to check that out. Our mechanics may be more up to speed on that. I'm going to write that down though. If you guys see anything that you think would be cool or awesome to have on one of our bikes, please let us know. Share it with us on the live. Send it in on our Instagram comments. I'd really love to see them because at the end of the day, we just want to build you the most kick-ass bikes out there, and we're doing it. We'll continue to do that. So when you do see cool stuff, send it our way. Thank you. Chris, you're awesome, Rob. May God bless you and FLX team as always. Thank you, Chris. God bless you, and really excited to get you those 2 bikes. Chris, I used the FedEx app to track my baby maker. I got a message on Friday that it was delayed until the coming Monday. I had a feeling, and it showed up the next day on Saturday. That's funny that it said Monday and showed up on Saturday. Again, there's a lot of humans involved in that company. Some mistakes can be made, so I'm glad you were there to get the baby maker when it showed up. We generally don't trust anything that's out of our control 100%. We always want to have a backup plan, a plan B. So I'm glad you're on top of that. Trevnod, FYI, couriers in the UK are not taking signatures because of COVID. They just take a picture instead. Surprised if any country is considering. I had no idea about that, Trevnod. Some of the drivers do that here in the States where they'll sign it instead of getting the actual signature. They'll just sign COVID, which is not great when you're delivering such an expensive product. Luckily, it has a fish tank on it rather than a bike, so that's going to deter some porch pirates. But I hear you on that, Trevnod. Thank you. Mike Hepilette, can you share who the carrier for Spain is, please? Mike, I don't know for sure who it is in Spain. The Spain bikes will go from Spain to the Netherlands and back to Spain. Kind of annoying. I know it's not the most efficient process, but we do have only one distribution center in Europe, and that's where it is. Trevnod, were you just showing us the process of the baby maker there? I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I like that you put baby maker in quotes like that. Connie, cool thing, 2,000 watt motor. Thanks for all you guys do. I like it. Love the idea, Connie. More power. Chris says, please do not let me die waiting for my bikes. Okay, Rob, thank you. I've really had my doubts, Chris. It seems like a couple people may die out of the anxiety that they're experiencing waiting on the bikes. I know it's tough waiting for these bikes. I wait on shit all the time that takes longer than expected to arrive. And it sucks. I hate it myself too. But, it's nothing to get upset about. The world is beautiful. Life is good. Go out, enjoy something. It will come when it comes. It's going to be there by July 31st for pretty much everybody here. So really excited about that. Apologies for the waits that you guys have experienced, but it's going to come and it's going to be well worth it. So thank you, everybody, for your patience. Thank you for being so cool with us. The whole team here is working their asses off to get you these bikes and make sure they are the coolest bikes out there. So thank you again, guys, for the support. Thank you for watching the live. That is all the questions today. Oh, Troy's back. Encore. What have you got?
Just in time system. So, Canada riders, going back about this invoice thing, if FedEx is contacting you saying, hey, we need an invoice for your bike, you can ignore that. We're taking care of that. I already contacted FedEx. We've had three people saying, hey, FedEx is asking for an invoice for my bike. They shouldn't be doing that. I've contacted the person who handles our international business with Canada about that. I'm taking care of that. We're taking care of that. You don't have to do anything about that. So don't stress about that. But we just wanted to clarify that while we have the opportunity. If anybody in Canada has got this invoice issue, we are handling that. So
Hell yes.
You don't have to do anything.
All right, we're on top of it. Thank you, Troy.
You bet.
It's been good, guys. Thank you for watching.